Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Saskatchewan's only provincial esports leagues semifinals, SKL. Here we are with our second series of the day between Fellowship of the Nerds and Team Malicious Intent. My name is Kevin Big Booty Bodie, and with me right now I have the one and only, my friend, lover, and roommate, Peter Crafty Buckeye McKay, coming off the caster deck. Crafty, how is your day going so far?
It's been fun. It's been lots of fun. I enjoyed that first semifinal. I think maybe 3 games would have been fun. Maybe we'll get 3 games here. But I am having lots of fun here at the Sandman live event. The crowd was great. It's fun time. And if you're, check it out because you won't regret it.
Yeah, the live crowd just adds so much to the atmosphere and the environment. And I could tell I was in there watching it. And just having the crowd, when something exciting was happening, having the crowd getting exciting behind you guys made you guys as casters get even more excited and hyped up. It just really adds to the atmosphere. It's a great time down here. So like Crafty said, you should make your way down here to the Sandman if you are not here already. So in this next series, this is the 1 seed versus the 4 seed. Team Malicious Intent 1 seed, Fellowship of the Nerds the 4th seed. Actually, going to be some roster changes coming in actually for Team Malicious Intent. They will not have Help Me as their regular jungler, will not be playing. They had to make an emergency substitute at the last minute and will be pulling in Bakery Boy or Poof. It's Poof. It's Poof. They're twins, so I can't tell which one it is. But it's Poof the Sheep. They're actually former top laner from last year for Vicious and Delicious, coming in to play jungler for them here last minute in the finals. Crafty, how do you think this is going to kind of affect their game plan or their team play as a whole?
Well, straight off the bat, it affects it quite a bit. Due to the last minute, they lose all 3 bans for this first game. So that's going to affect the kind of draft they want to give and the draft they want to take out of Fellowship of the Nerds here. But it's also got a lot on the line because Poof and Mo Money have the experience against Fellowship of the Nerds last season in this exact same game. The semifinal in the 1 versus 4 matchup went game 3. So close, so epic, and going to Poof's and Mo Money's side. And I think they're going to really need to get something Poof's comfortable on. No, he's not really jungle main, but he can jungle. Yeah. He's shown it all season that he can. He's been a sub a couple times, and I like his style of play. So hopefully he brings a lot to the Rift tonight.
Yeah, with Poof coming in, they do still have that synergy there. But like you said, because of the emergency substitution, the subs were not declared in time and they were late checking in. They did lose all 3 bans for the first game, just to clarify that. So when you see pick and ban phase going on, there will be no bans coming out from the side of Team Malicious Intent. So that is why. So that is something that could be a huge liability to them in this first game. And I think Fellowship of the Nerds are going to want to capitalize on that. So Crafty, looking at this game here, I'm looking at the players right now. They're all looking ready. They're all looking hyped up. Especially a little tough guy. He's looking good right now. What is your prediction here for this series? Give me a prediction. Do you think 2-0 either way, or is it going to be 2-1? What do you think?
I honestly think we're going game 3 no matter what. And then it's really up in the air. So there will be no penalizations for game 3. It's going to be right straight off of who can adapt to this patch. Because obviously we saw it last time, but we didn't see too many different style of play out of both of those teams, but maybe these teams have kind of changed their champ pool in the mid lane with these new mages. Maybe they'll play double APs. I honestly have no idea, and it's up in the air right now. I'm going to go with a 2-1, but honestly, it could go 2-1 Fellowship, just based off how last season went, how these teams go up against each other, and where League of Legends is at right now.
Well, for my prediction, I think I'm going to go bold here. I'm going to go the other way. I think I'm going to go 2-1 Fellowship of the Nerds here. I think that just their team cohesion, they just such a consistent roster all the time. They're all friends and family in real life. They're all very close. They had a kind of a tough regular season, but I think they're really going to bring their A game here in the playoffs. They've been waiting around a long time today to play. And, it's a revenge game, like you said. That semifinals last year was a heartbreaker for Fellowship because they were so close to making it into the final game. It was a heartbreaker. So this is the revenge game for Fellowship of the Nerds. And I really think they're going to bring it tonight. So I think I'm going to give them the 2-1. But like you said, with such strong teams, I think it's going to go it could go either way. So with that, we are going to toss it over to the caster desk for this game. You're going to be seeing the one and only Pawnox with Dizaninator. So have at it, boys.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Bailey Pawnox Dietrich, and I am joined by Blake Dizaninator Zanadine. We're going to be the casters kicking off today's semifinal match of Team Malicious Intent, and they're going to be taking on Fellowship of the Nerds.
Yeah, a little bit of excitement going forward for this match. Waited a while for it, but it's here. I mean, like they said, it's kind of a revenge match. Absolutely amazing series to cast and do. Actually, we casted this series last year too.
We did absolutely.
So can they come back for us, I guess, too?
Yeah, and I mean, something to note that this is the first place seed taking on the fourth place seed. But really, all in all, when you look at the teams individually, by no means is Fellowship really in the fourth place. Oh, they're not that great. They are very strong. They come up with some very strong play, and I mean, like you said last year, they were so close to coming into that final game. So it's going to be a really close series. Like Crafty Buckeye said there, it's going to be going to 3 games no matter what, I predict at least here. We are going to be hopping into the picks and bans. Like we were saying there earlier, guys, there are going to be losing all 3 bans here for Malicious Intent, as they did have that late substitution. So we're going to be seeing the Gangplank being taken away here for Fellowship.
Just overall, really, he's just got so much map presence. You've got usually running the TP, you've got the global ulti. You never really need to leave lane to get those assists, those kills, get that extra gold. If you farm efficiently, that ulti late game just does so much damage, even the barrels. And when you give it to a team that's so good at team fighting, such as Team Malicious Intent, definitely a tool that can be used quite well. I bet taking it away from Similodon, I don't think we've actually seen him play too much Gangplank this season.
Not necessarily the season, just because of the ups and downs Gangplank has had in the meta, but last season I remember he was very, very proficient on that champion, and he does like the carry-oriented top laners. I mean, might even see something new coming out for him with this new patch kicking it off. We are going to see the Alistar being taken away from Mo Money, something that he really has played a lot in the past. Mo Money seemed to be more for the melee support type trend versus going with those range supports. I mean, seeing the likes of Shen a lot in the regular season, the Alistar, Braum, stuff like that really kind of suit his play style compared to some of the ranged.
Yeah, definitely that pocket pick, and I was actually just going to say I'm curious to see if they're going to try and ban or take away that Shen support. Really, no one else has played it besides him, and he makes it work. Just that global presence, once again, him and the Gangplank do very well. With that Nidalee take away from Poof, the games we have seen him sub in, has played at Nidalee. I believe he also stuck with Gragas. So one of his more proficient champions. Take him off that. Just so much early game pressure. Did receive a bit of a nerf in this patch, though.
Yeah, I mean, taking complete player proficiency on the champion aside, Nidalee still is one of the top tier junglers right now, as we've seen it time and time again. Just having such a carry style, as well as just an early map presence there in the jungle, and just being able to clear so well, and still be healthy enough to follow up with ganks after that point. But we're going to see the early Maokai locked in here for Ablo in the top lane, which is going to be great for him coming into this one. Definitely something that they want to pick up early on if it's open. A very strong pick right now.
And that's just the crazy thing is, with only 3 bans going out in the game, so much is open to pick and play. So it's really going to be up to Fellowship. They do go with that Maokai, which is, like you said, a very strong pick, but now they have to look, what did we leave open? Because there's so many power picks, they can even leave more open, and on their second rotation, pick up even more. The Trundle we've seen, very good, well, common pick against the Maokai, just stealing those tank stats, but dealing a lot of damage as well. Not really sure what Poof's going to lock in. Does the usual singed hover. Wouldn't be surprised to see, I mean, Malzahar's open. Not sure if he's got much practice on it. Did receive a bit of a hot fix there. I think it was last week.
Yeah.
But still very strong in the jungle.
Absolutely. I mean, Singed, one of the Poof's more favorite champions. That's why he's kind of hovering that one there. But the Zed locked in here, and that is going to be going to TSM Never Lucky in the mid lane. Something that is very, very strong in the meta right now. And, I mean, it has a lot of map pressure. It has a lot of different playstyles you can go with, too. You can really throw it into the split push comps, or you can even go and just go for, like, a dive the backline kind of comp. Which, I mean, with Trundle, too, you can kind of do a nice 1-3-1 with him as well if you go with the Hydra build. But it looks like they might go with the Echo and the Taric right off the bat, so we're going to be seeing our first Taric in SKL coming out here for Fellowship of the Nerds. That is, we go into Chosgood in the bot lane. Even though his, trademarked Bard is left open, he's going to be going with that Taric. Very, very outrageous and very strong right now as well.
Yeah, it is very strong. Actually, has already received nerfs to him.
Yes.
his presence in team fights is just astounding. I mean, you have the invulnerability. It allows you to make those kind of dive plays. And you already look at the lineup they have already. They've got the Echo. I'm thinking that's going to go in the jungle. Can't see. Could be flexed into the mid lane, though, as well, as they did kind of nerf his base stats, but did...
His scaling is a little bit better, yeah.
Quite a bit for himself, so wouldn't be surprised with that. The Callista is open for Big Tough Guy, but he will lock in that Caitlyn at least coming through in the jungle, so leaving the support pick possibly for last, but that could be a support trundle as well.
Yeah, and we are going to see the Caitlyn locked in here for a little tough guy in that bot lane, something that definitely suits his playstyle a lot. He has very great positioning in the team fights, so just being able to sit in that back line and really tee off onto this big front line that it seems like they might be structuring here for Fellowship, it's going to play out very, very well, as well as the siege potential that Caitlyn can have, just laying the line of traps there and slowly moving that up to the turret and just being able to force anybody off that, not wanting to get the double headshot from that trap and the net follow up there. But what they're going to decide to round out this comp with from Fellowship is a bit of a question mark now. I mean, they do have a lot to play with all those bans being left open there, and I mean, still some pretty good power picks left open right now. I mean, they could go with a Lucian for a pretty safe laning phase, or could even go with something a little bit different there too.
Going with Old Faithful, it looks like, sticking with that Tristana. We've seen him have some spectacular performance on there. Also is a big Jinx player. Haven't seen that come out at all this season. Strong pick, but with the mobility right now, it's definitely kind of a hard pick to take, especially with those QSS nerfs. Picking kind of those short-range AD carries is very hard. Can't cleanse Deathmark anymore. Bit of a tilt-worthy factor.
Absolutely, and
we
are also going to see the Ahri locked in here for Jay Frazier in the mid lane, something that he's played time and time again. And then going into that Zed pick, I mean, it's definitely a skill matchup at that point. He's going to have to play very well, but it's not a matchup that he's unknown to, something that's been played a lot in SKL, and he does know kind of the ins and outs as Zed is. He's a very proficient player on that champion as well. So we are going to see the Zillion actually being picked up here in the support role for Mo Money. Something a little bit off... off the chain here for him. Like I said earlier, he's really good on those melee supports and not really, picking those ranged ones, but here, lo and behold, proves me wrong.
Just trying to keep someone alive. They have a lot of split push pressure. Zillion's pretty good at stalling as well. You got the double bombs, you can get the stuns. But, I mean, if you think of Play Jetta last year, Fellowship of the Nerds very good at dealing with that split push. That's how they ended up winning. Sending it to Game 3 last time. But the comp coming out from Malicious Intent, kind of range heavy, but they have, like you said, the siege potential. They have the Caitlyn, the Zillion, so it's really going to enable that Zed. They can handle those 4v5s. They have a lot of disengage if they try to engage on them, but a very, very tanky squad coming out from the side of Fellowship of the Nerds.
Absolutely. I mean, exactly. Depending on how you decide to build that jungle Echo, I mean, that can go many different ways. You can go like a full AP jungle Echo, but you can also really stack that up. I mean, a nice Dead Man's Plate, Sunfire Cape on top of that. You can even go Cinder Hulk if you really wanted to. Runic Echo is a very good item on it, though. Like, you probably want to go that route. But, again, they can go very, very big frontline, or they could go with some diving damage dealers with the Echo. I mean, that phase dive into the backline, and then you can just use your ult to get right back out of that. So, I mean, you have a lot of options just with build paths with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, and also you're putting Jay Frazier on a very comfortable champion. Ahri, haven't really got him see, like, he's been playing a lot of supportive champions lately, and I guess that's the other thing. Is Fellowship of the Nerds finally getting their full roster. Bananas Inc. been playing a lot of games for them, so they finally have Jay Frazier. I'm pretty sure they're probably pretty excited to have their full roster finally together, especially for the
family reunion. Yeah,
see if they can kind of pull that synergy together, because that's going to be so important. I mean, they might be able to take the advantage of TMI just getting here. I mean, and they didn't have a lot of time to practice their new sub, so that could also be a bit of a hindrance towards them. Gonna kind of see what team can kind of mesh better together quicker.
Exactly, yeah. Showing up a little bit last minute there. Might, heartbeat still racing from the run into the door, but
my heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
was rushing.
We were all, on the edge of our seat here, wondering whether we'd be able to make it in time. But lo and behold, we are going to be here with our first game of this best of 3 series with Team Malicious Intent and Fellowship of the Nerds.
And I think this is a huge game for Fellowship of the Nerds that they need to win. They've got the 3-ban advantage. You go forward, you've got this huge advantage towards you. If you're not able to take advantage of that, how do you expect to go forward when the playing field is even?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, now let's try and take a game. This is so crucial for them. The best of 3, you drop that first game, the momentum shift is huge. Because it's only that one more win to really push you into the finals.
Exactly. If there's any time for Fellowship to really take advantage of this, it's going to be right now. So we're going to have to see if they're going to be able to pull that out. I mean, in the regular season, we saw them kind of make some unfavorable shot calling, stuff like that, where it seems like that's really where TMI kind of, thrives is those mid-game team fights there and really being able to focus on the objectives, play the map very well. Or Fellowship, I mean, they got to really focus on that early game, get ahead early, and then they translate it very well. So if they can't get ahead early, gonna have to see if they can, correct some of those shot calling decisions we saw in the regular season for them.
Yeah, and I mean, the exciting thing is both these teams are very objective focused, and now with the new Drake system coming in, I mean, you really need to pick and choose which dragons you want to fight for.
Yeah.
Those buffs really, depending on the team comp you're going to run, are more essential to your team or not. Do we give up the air Drake? Okay, sure. Take the fire Drake. We're better at team fighting. So I'm very curious to see if these teams are going to still be like, okay, fight over every drag. We don't want to give away any buffs.
Yeah.
Or if they'll be a little smarter and be like, okay, we can get a little more off of this if we give that drag away and kind of play for that Elder Dragon, which a 35-minute Elder Dragon is pretty big if you do stack those drags.
Exactly. So you don't want to give up too many of them. One, here or there, it's not too bad. And exactly like you said, different compositions call for different drakes that you're going to want to take at that point. I mean, if you go with a more poke comp, then you want to go and get those mana regen. If you go with like just the high dive heavy ones, damage dealers, you want to go with the Inferno. So, I mean, different comps is going to play the map very differently. And I mean, RNG is going to be hopefully on one of these team sides here, as I mean, it is completely random on which Drake is going to be spawning. So, gonna have to wait and see until which moves are gonna be made here.
The old RNG factor.
RNG.
Gotta love that stuff, RNG gods, please. And that's the crazy thing is that I believe you can only get 3 of the 4 Drakes to spawn. Like, you can never have all 4 elements spawn in one game.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, have you ever been in a solo queue game where you've gotten?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
I still don't think I've ever gotten an Earth Dragon yet.
Oh, actually. They're pretty good. I mean, and that's the thing. It'd actually be pretty good for the Caitlyn's that it does give you that sieging and taking the neutral monsters. So they're going to be looking for that split push. That Earth Dragon is definitely going to one that they'll probably try and fight over. You give yourself that split push power. It's only it's 10% increments as you get the Drakes, but that's more damage. Gives you a little more pressure on the map.
Exactly. Like they can play. Like I said, their comp is kind of. They have a lot of flexibility. They could go with like a 1-3-1. They could go with a 1-4. They can do a lot because, especially if they do get something like an Earth Dragon, they're gonna have so much pressure in the side lanes there. Just with the Trundle, who's known to be a tank buster as well as a good split pusher. If depending on how you build them, you get that Sunfire, you get the Hydra, you're gonna be good to go. Same with Zed. You go get your couple core items, and you're just gonna be sitting in a side lane, and you're gonna be 1v1ing anyone who tries to come deal with you. Especially now with all those changes to the death mark and what it can be kind of reduced by, stuff like that, QSS no longer being affected by it. So, I mean, you're not necessarily going to be sending your AD carrier or someone else down there to deal with them because they might not have the tools. So you might have to send that Ahri there with his Zhonya's to maybe, hopefully, dissuade him a little bit.
And that's kind of the cool thing is I'm going to be very interested to see how this Ahri is going to build. With all these new item changes, it really kind of opens up new build paths to go for. I mean, Zhonya is definitely being a crucial one, but very neat that they made it now gives you CDR, you've got the armor, and it gives you the vulnerability. I believe it's still the same price. It doesn't give you quite as much AP, but you can build these like new stacking items because it's more oriented on building mana instead of mana regen.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, exactly like you said, it depends what the AP items this Ahri's going to go with. I mean, even though Abyssal Scepter seems to be kind of the go-to in the mid lane right now, I mean, having a Grievous Wounds against the Trundle is not going to be a bad idea. I mean, his passive, especially if you're fighting in a lane with minions, is going to be very great. I mean, they do have different options. We're going to see maybe the Maokai maybe go with something like a Roa, which is very strong as well, too, or you could just go straight into that full tank, depending on how they feel it's kind of going in the lane matchup, too. But, I mean, just so many changes in this last patch just bring so many opportunities for a little bit of diversity, a little bit of changes, and a little bit of new flavor coming into this game. Make it spicy.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the game, we are going to get into the game, guys. So we do have Team Malicious Intent versus Fellowship of the Nerds. So on the side of Team Malicious Intent, we do have Similidon in the top lane playing Trundle. We've got Poof the Sheep and Elise in the jungle. TSM Never Lucky bringing out that Zed in the mid lane. Little Tough Guy playing Caitlyn at 80 carry, and Mo Money rounding out that team at support playing that Zillion.
Yeah, and on the red side, we are going to have... Oh, wait, did you go through Fellowship?
No, it's on the right side. You go.
Oh. On the blue side, we are going to have Team Malicious Intent. And on the top lane, we're going to have Rablo playing that Maokai in the top lane. Bosgood in the jungle playing that Echo. Jay Frazier in the mid lane playing Ahri. Baby Trog in 80 carry playing Tristana. And we're going to have Chosgood playing that Gem God in the bot lane.
Gem God.
Gem God.
I believe it's Gem Knight, but I mean, if you want to bow down, that also works too.
Oh, man, absolutely. All day.
And I mean, we not really an exciting level 1, just going to be the standard line of scrimmage. No one really wanting to test the waters. I mean,
especially kind of like with the way they set up. They don't really have the greatest invades. I mean, Chosgood with the Tarek would be not too bad level 1 if he starts that stun. So beyond that, though, I mean, you're not going to have the greatest one with Zillion. He takes a little while to become, very relevant in the game here, but right off the bat, we are going to be a very standard start, just helping out the leash there for Poof the Sheep. Going to be coming in there, and so far, they are going to go with even lanes. I know that they were thinking, not Fellowship of the Nerds, TMI. They were thinking maybe bust the meta a little bit here, but they are just going to go with standard stuff there as the, jungle, like splitting the jungle with the top laner is not as strong right now just because the camps don't share the experience anymore with those recent changes to the jungle. We are going to get a pause here right off the bat.
Wait, what? A pause? I don't think we've seen any of those.
This is our first pause of the game.
The mystery pause.
Yeah. But anyways, as far as the lane matchups go, I mean, going into that, I feel like early on there we're going to see Ari just be pushing that wave in constantly, and then it's going to be whether or not Jay Frazier can kind of get those roams off. He might want to try and get those side lanes rolling a little bit there, paired with Bosgood in the jungle. I mean, that might work out very well for him there, but it's going to be whether or not we do see Poof, he might have the car legs a little bit. Going to have to see if he can kind of, shake off the dust here and put down the pressure that the team might need to be able to keep Jay Frazier in that mid lane.
And that's kind of the thing, is that on the flip side, I mean, you can look at the same waves that tries to shove in that Ari, also going to roam with Elise. They have a lot of CC there as well. The mid lane's going to be like, okay, who can shove and roam the most? They're going to really be just counter-shoving each other. I don't think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to roam. I'm going to be looking more for those teleport plays, as Jay Frazier did take that over the Ignite, so he's definitely looking to make a few more plays here than TSM Never Lucky. But can he survive the level 6? That's really what you want to look for. Push the experience advantage. Make sure you do not get beaten there. That Ignite definitely can take you by surprise.
Yeah, we do see Chosgood getting chunked out a little bit here early on here to Mo Money, just laying down the bombs. They're zoning them very well, so they're going to have to wait for that wave to push into tower there. As slowly but surely, Little Tough Guy's trying to just take as much time as he needs to get that minion farm. But Samilodon going to do a little bit there to push the wave in his own favor there too. Trundle very lane dominant. Once he hits that level 6, even early on there, he trades very, very well, just with the Frozen Domain at level 3. So that's something they definitely have to watch out for. That Harablo can kind of hold his own there. Nice stun there, landing from Chosgood, just enough to dissuade Mo Money from retaliating back and trading back in his own right there, and just going to be pushing those waves further and further.
Yeah, that top lane definitely just going to be this sustain lane, but we do see a bit of trading here. Samilodon going to go
Frozen Domain. Frozen Domain.
He pops that pillar to block him. Is a flash going to come through? He does do it a little late there, keeping himself alive, but can definitely teleport back to his lane. And we do see Poof actually topside, so maybe go up there and wait for that teleport to come through, go back for a gank. The flash is down. That's definitely where you want to take advantage of that. The summoner spells are down. Get him again. As the wave is pushing into that turret, if you're able to kill him once again, put him so far behind, but also really hard to dive when you're only level 3.
Exactly. I mean, normally like getting a tank really far ahead isn't crazy good for you, but something like Trundle getting that very far ahead just gives him so much dominance in lane, really puts down his lane opponent there, as well as just opens up the map completely, especially when he gets to the Hydra, starts split pushing a little bit there. Baw's going to be taking his red there, sitting on the bot side of the map. Whether or not he's going to make an appearance there is yet to be determined, but I mean, that would be a pretty good place to start. As we've seen in the regular season, Mo Money and Little Tough Guy have been pretty good staples as far as the team performance goes.
Yeah, and bot lane's definitely one of the crucial matchup in this series. Is Baby Trog definitely, and Chosgood definitely being kind of one of the pivotal points of that team, being the strongest, mostly the most consistent people on that team. We've seen other players kind of struggle back and forth, but that's kind of the matchup. Definitely got to keep an eye on, see who really gets the pressure there. Bosgood still on the bot side, not going to look too much, and we do see Poof making his way on that top side. There is a pink ward in that top bush, so could make his way up there, but he's just going to walk away.
Yeah, not playing it too fast and loose quite yet. I mean, maybe wants to, get a little settled in here before he starts making some big plays, but might be going back up towards the top lane. Here's Harablo making a play on Poof the Sheep.
And an absolute great twisted advance there, going through the stun, but it might not be enough. He doesn't have the flash. The pillar goes up. Harablo being very slow there, and he definitely will go down as Poof picks up that first blood right near the blue buff there. And just getting a little caught out there. I'm not sure why he put the ward down, clears the ping, and I mean, Poof was there. He didn't have the flash available. try to do the best he can, but that's going to put him even more behind. But he is farming quite well, so that is definitely in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, Similidon putting down a great pillar there to pin him kind of against the wall, making him take the long way around if he ever wanted a way out. Really forced Harabalo between, a rock and a trophy place there as the pillar was doing a lot of work there. But Poop the Sheep, I mean, coming out strong here right off the bat, definitely putting down the pressure that he needs to and picking up the first blood, actually. Not something we probably would have predicted here coming into the game, that he would have been one of the junglers to make the first moves.
Yeah, very aggressive though. When he does sub in, he likes to play those high impact early junglers. And I mean, with Elise, you do have so much damage coming through. I'm very curious if he will go with that Rune Glaive and then into a bit of a tank here. Try and be he is the only source really of AP damage besides that Zillion. So gonna need either one of those two to get a little bit of damage on their side so they don't get outscaled being that full AD team.
Yeah, especially with the amount of front line that they've kind of built here with Fellowship of the Nerds, having a Maokai. But they're going to go in here, actually.
I'm so glad they did, and they will go on the Caitlyn. The explosive charge goes through as well as the exhaust. He is going to flash away, but Mo Money's very healthy. The pilled over Peacemaker will come up huge, securing that first kill. And Chosgood so slowed. Is he going to be able to get away the trap? Having to walk around that will put down the stun. The bomb should be available. Is forced to flash there. Will save it, but that is going to be the kill, going over to a little tough guy. Maybe a little aggressive there from Baby Trog, jumping in to try and set up that stun, and ends up going down.
Yeah, I mean, TMI played that very, very well. Similidon just trying to trade back and forth here with Harablo. But back to that bot lane fight there, we saw Mo Money play it very, very well. Stayed, didn't back off at all and really tried to turn it around. As lots of the players with Tristana and the Tara combo, that's exactly what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to prep the stun so it's already kind of channeled, hop in there, and then you're going to land it. To give them a little less reaction time there after that point. And, I mean, they played it well off the bat, but then they just didn't have the damage to follow it up there, where Caitlyn's range really just took over after that point, and Mo Money just laying down the bombs, landing those crucial stuns that he needed to, and, it got a kill as well as it forced a flash on a Chosgood there. So only one summoner left in the bot lane for Fellowship of the Nerds.
I mean, that's the thing. You have this high mobility AD carry in Baby Truck, but when you're wasting your defensive ability to use that to engage, it's definitely kind of a 50-50 whether you're going to be able to get that kill. And with that double bomb coming through, CCing them up, he had no way of getting away. He only had flash, but you're going against two long-range champions, and he goes down before he's able to get the flash away. The tip of that pilled over Peacemaker does catch him there. And we will have the Air Drake being that first dragon coming up. Very curious which team is gonna try and go for it, or just maybe leave it for a while. No real pressure to go for that early on.
No, exactly. A little bit of time there. Something to note here actually is the mid lane matchup, as we see a pretty big discrepancy. But Poop the Sheep making it appear soft.
He does miss a cocoon though. The twisted advance going in, giving him a little bit. The vengeful Maelstrom gonna absorb some of that damage. The repel gonna come down though. Is he gonna be able to get away as the TP is coming in, as well as Bosgood is there? Can he hold on for just long enough? Poof might actually go down to the turret. He does get out of range here, but Jay Frazier has arrived. He is going to use that Spirit Rush, going to try and secure a kill as he does get the charm. Bosgood will pick up that kill. Poof might be able to sneak away in that bush there. Can his B go off? The last charge of his Spirit Rush does stop that back. He is pretty though. Will use the Foxfire, but Bosgood just hopping over that wall, picking himself another kill. So maybe diving a little too far there.
Well, I mean, the dive was the right idea. I mean, they had it kind of set up there. They had the damage. It's just that it took way too long. I mean, if they would have been able to execute Harablo a lot earlier, they would have had the time to at least back off of that one. But, I mean, giving them the time for Jay Frazier and Bosgood to be able to roam up there, clean it up after the fact. So, sure, they got the one kill, but they traded two back for it. Not worth it whatsoever. And, I mean, the fact that they had the communication, the right set of mind to kind of roam up to the top lane and really collapse on that is... I mean, it's a great start for them. I mean, they kind of had the falter in the bot lane there, but they've definitely made up for it with that top lane play. Getting Jay Frazier being the one to first make the roam there is pretty detrimental to really the fault of TMI.
Well, and that's the thing is, the TSM Never Lucky really not being hindered by not roaming up there. Jay Frazier does get the 2 assists, but he has such a substantial CS lead, being up 23. Creeps. That gold difference really not that big of a deal, and he's going to get a bit more of an experience advantage for himself as well. So just keeping himself ahead where he needs to. Similidon actually using that teleport in the top lane, so he won't be looking to make any teleport plays soon, as Harablo does have that available. So if they look for something in the bot side, Fellowship of the Nerds definitely has that pressure advantage.
Exactly. But as I was talking about earlier, there, the matchup in the mid lane there is actually pretty one-sided. It seems like TSM Never Lucky doing a great job of farming up there, rushing that Hexdrinker to get himself that little bit of MR that he's going to need, and then he's really just focusing on punishing this Ahri so far, as we do see like almost 30 32 CS discrepancy there in the mid lane. And Ari is only just sitting on that double Dorans there. But trading back and forth, not quite going to land the stun on a Baby Chog there, but going to be able to trade back a little bit of damage and get some gold in his pocket for his troubles.
And just a lot of poke coming out. If you can even just land the one bomb, you do a little bit of damage. The only bad thing is you end up pushing your wave a little bit, so you're always kind of shoving them under turret. But the problem with Zilean is in the Caitlyn, you put down those traps, you throw the bombs in the exit points to get through those traps. You either force him to take the crit or take the stun and take even more damage. So they're able to zone the Tristana so well. But Baby Chug doing his best to try and stay farmed up. Only behind by about 10 here. You do see Harablo trading a little bit with Smilodon. Nothing big going to come out of that as they try for TSM Never Lucky here. Poof is there. Will throw out the Cocoon. Just missing a great taunt going on to TSM Never Lucky. Hasn't proc that Hex Drinker yet. They will just back away.
Yeah, Poof the Sheep being there just in time, enough to dissuade the follow-up there from Bosgood and Jay Frazier. But the ace in the hole coming out just to push them off the turret there a little bit, continue to push up the wave, but we do see Bosgood making his way down to the bot lane, trying to follow it up.
He's going to go for the stun here as the little tough guy does get hit by that time winner. Going to slow him down a little bit, but not going to be enough as the death mark does go into Jay Frazier. A great taunt there. The ignite going down as well. That should be enough. Is going to use the pot. He will stay alive though, and the TP comes in from Harablo. He will secure that kill. And just a little bit of over-aggression here coming in from TSM Never Lucky as Jay Frazier gets away, surviving, and that's a kill for that top lane.
Yeah, great map awareness at that point for Rablo. I mean, he realized that the wave was in a position that he could teleport out of the lane. Similodon's not going to be able to put out enough damage to really get the turret. Like you can see there, he kind of warmed it up there, but Bosgood getting caught out here a little bit.
He's in a little trouble as he gets hit by the Cocoon there. Mo Money throwing a bomb on himself. He just enlisted in Al Qaeda there, trying to go in there and land the stun, but not gonna be able to land that.
Yeah, pretty bold play, you could say for that for sure. Yeah, Similodon, he does have the, he's working towards that Ravenous Hydra right now, has picked up the lifesteal for himself, so now he's actually going to be able to really sustain in that lane, as well as with his passive, and continually to push that in further and further, as he does have now a 10 CS discrepancy for himself over top of Harablo. Harablo, though, making the plays on the other side of the map, but we are going to see another little bit of a pause here, maybe trying to just recover from that comment.
Kind of pulling there. We did have a class. A little over the top. That was my bad. Definitely just going to pull that one back.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that is the thing. He is going to go for that first item, Sunfire Cape. It's going to be very effective against pretty much a full AD. But Poof, he's securing a few kills there, being very mobile on the map. But both good at the same time. The junglers being very proactive in the play. But it seems like the bot lane kind of just hanging out by themselves, securing kills. I'm kind of waiting for someone to finally take a turret. I want to see a team fight go up.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they need. One team just needs to kind of crack open the map there and then really just... It's going to focus a lot on vision, I think, there. Just because the junglers are being so aggressive and they're really being proactive, the wards are going to tell the game right now. Because if you want to be able to take those objectives, which both of these teams seem to be very, very strong at, I mean, just covering the map with wards is going to really enable yourself to be able to rotate properly, be able to pick up those drags properly and safely, let alone... Because, I mean... We saw in the last series, yeah, sure, you get the drag, but you're going to lose the team fight after. Sure, yeah, you get the Baron, but you're going to lose, you're going to get aced. So you got to be very, very careful when you're making those plays. And the first step to that is going to be the wards, which in this, as far as the matchups go, I feel like Team Malicious Intent focuses a lot more on that macro aspect than Fellowship might.
And yeah, vision is so important, and I think a lot of people undervalue it.
Yeah.
Of control of objectives, but also for picks. I mean, if you can find the right team fights, you clear out the vision you need, or you can set yourself up for something, definitely goes forward. But I would like to see maybe TMI try and focus a little more on that top side map. Go for that Rift Herald. If they're going to try and go for that split push, the new Rift Herald buff is so good for those split pushers. If you're able to, gives you the damage reduction, also gives you a little bit more damage. Put that on the Zed, get that on the Trundle. Just give them a little more tankiness and a little more combat abilities.
Yeah, I feel like as far as which one of those to put it on, I feel like Trundle would definitely make the best use out of it. Just pushing into a tank, that's something you do want. You want to get that little bit of extra damage as well as the damage reduction paired with his ult. It's going to be going miles for him. Whereas already we do see Jay Frazier being able to 1v1 the RA in the mid lane pretty close to the point where blowing a lot of summoners. So, I mean, it's only going to get worse from that point as Zed is very strong right now. So that's something you have to definitely watch out for. So putting that onto the Trundle, who's going to have the dueling potential once he finishes that Hydra, is going to be like outrageous. So exactly like you said, putting that focus on the top side of the map, because no one's really focusing those neutral objectives whatsoever. No drags, no Rift Herald, not even any pressure on them at all. No dancing around. So, yeah, focusing on those might, help crack open the map.
And I mean, we talked a little bit about the RA being able to roam. We did see that TP play come through. Didn't really get punished. Almost got killed there by Never Lucky. Got away with a sliver of health, and then that TP coming in from Harablo, picking himself up that kill. So that's definitely important for Fellowship. If you're going to take that teleport in mid lane, you definitely need to get the effectiveness out of it. If you're going to lose lane, someone bringing Ignite, that takes the pressure away from yourself and really not being able to go for what your team is optimizing and building around.
Exactly. I mean, it's definitely something you have to watch out for. As we do see Jay Frazier, he is going for that first item, Zanya's Hourglass, as we thinking that he might pick up at some point in the game, opting not to go with the Abyssal Scepter. I mean, it's not really too needed in the matchup. The only real AP damage is coming out of the Elise. So going against that with the Trundle and a Zed, probably the stronger item is going to be that Zanya's Hourglass. What he's going to pair with after that point, though, that's going to be very situational. I mean, we might see a couple different items. I don't think we're going to see any of the new items like the Proto Belt or anything like that come out, but I mean, might see like a little bit of reworked Morellos or something like that coming out. Like I said, you do really like those Grievous Wounds going on to some of these champions.
Oh, especially, with the long ranger, you got the Caitlyn. Definitely going to go with that Runettes, but okay, never mind. I thought maybe Smilodon was going to look for an engage there.
No.
But that's the thing, is Zillion is going to continually just land bumps, get these stuns, and that's the poke coming through. So we say that Elise is kind of the only magic damage, but Zillion, if he does opt to build in that AP, does do quite a bit of damage and provides a decent amount of utility for that team. Yeah,
that classic AP solo queue support. I'll build a Sightstone and then a Rabadon's, but
I mean, you can't kill in the Zillion. They've proven this multiple times.
No, yeah, there's been many scientific studies, but all negative. As we are seeing Jay Frazier, he's going to clear out that pink ward and make his way back towards the mid lane as TSM Never Lucky is continually just farming up farther and farther there, 110 to 87 in the bot lane. Just going to hop out of that bomb set there and hopefully just trying to stay safe as they keep farming up under the turret in the bot lane. We do see a little bit of discrepancy between those as well, but I mean, as far as the matchup goes, that is a little bit to be expected. Caitlyn, very, very strong laner just because of her pure range on that, as well as the Zillion harass coming down constantly is nothing. That's fun.
And that's what we're saying, just the complete zone control with those traps. You max it first or second, depending on what kind of utility you want. Once you get rank 4, you have 5 traps out there.
Yeah.
Just throw them down, then you have to force them to dodge the bombs or use defensive abilities to try and dodge that. And as you can see, they're just doing so much damage, and they have free siege on the turret. Not really sure how the bot lane's going to handle it. Poof's going to come down there as Bosgood goes on to Poof here. The parallel convergence not going to land there. A TP coming in from Sumilodon. He is forced to use that chrono break. He can E over the wall. The Terra ulti going to come through. Is going to land in time. Will be invulnerable for a little bit. The ace in the hole going out shouldn't be enough to take him down. So a lot committed to that kill there, and they get away with really burning no summoners. Oh, heal was used there.
Yeah, and I don't even think that they're going to have like the mana advantage to be able to rotate onto the bot lane, so they're going to take the Dragon as a consolation prize there. Picking up the first one of the game unless it gets stolen here. Bosgood, though, a little too low to try and make that risky play, and his ult is down, so they're going to pick that up relatively free. Poof the Sheep going to be able to smite that one out for them. So first drag going over Team Malicious Intent, which is a good start. Honestly, like if they want to continually snowball, get their win conditions going, it's definitely going to help and translate very well into the later parts of the game.
They will give themselves that out of combat movement speed with that Wind Drake, and the Fire Drake actually being the next one. So that team fight component coming through, definitely one I think that Fellowship of the Nerds is going to want to try and pick up in the next 6 minutes when it spawns. But like we said, so much pressure being bought. I'm surprised, well, they do get the Dragon, but I'm surprised they didn't put a little more pressure onto that turret. I guess they do have a ton of lane dominance right now, so that is very helpful. He isn't up that much. He is up about 20 CS at this point, so has a little bit of pressure in that bot lane, a little tough guy. But once, like I said, once they try and do that split push, it's going to be very easy for them to zone out with the traps and bombs.
Yeah, so we just do have a little pause here. So just going to be waiting for these teams to kind of get the issue figured out here, but as far as the matchup goes, I mean, we do see the kind of the item paths coming out here. So we do see that Tristana has gone with that Infinity Edge. She's not going to go with the funny Ginzus or anything like that, as Ginzus was recently changed. A little bit of an awkward build path now, not something that's very optimal for lots of carries. But we do see Caitlyn hasn't quite completed that. She's working on another call there, so going to be getting that gold inner pocket there. Hopefully going to be coming into a big power spike once they get that. So I mean, they've already been taking some neutral objectives there. So we are back in game here already, guys. So going to be having TSM Never Lucky going to be pushing out the mid lane there. Nice charm going to be landing from Jay Frazier, though, able to harass back a little bit.
That Thunderlord's proc off, just a little bit of harass back and forth. Is starting to slowly catch up in that CS lead. Is Never Lucky going to keep up those numbers. Haven't really seen him do too much so far. Went for that one solo kill, going to farm up a lot, but really has been held in his own lane, hasn't had any opportunities to really go find himself any kills to pick up.
No, that's definitely for sure. And I mean, they might just be hoping to hold out until they're in a position where they can crack open the mid lane, like maybe a nice like mid-game fight, crack open the mid lane, and then throw Zed into a side lane. Because I mean, they do like to play the map like that. I mean, they kind of spread everyone out, make them choose between bad decisions, right? I mean, nothing's going to be advantageous for them, but they just make them make hard choices. So Mo Money zoning once again on the turret there. Very tough matchup here in the bot lane, as we do see like a almost 20 CS discrepancy coming out here just for a little tough guy, kind of becoming a big tough guy in his own right here as they're going to be pushing that in. Nice harass there from TSM Never Lucky, but we are going to see the Twisted Advance here from Rablo, going to try and trade back some damage.
We'll use the Frozen Domain, get a little bit of movement speed. Bosged going to try and come in here, and we have seen Trundle go with a very aggressive build off the start. Looks like he's going to build towards that Ravenous Hydra instead of the Titanic. Do see that a little more often with the Trundles, but going with a very offensive build in that top lane hasn't really yet been punished for it. We haven't seen Bosged up there too much, has come for the counter ganks, but they did get him ahead a little bit, and maybe that's why he decided to optimize for a lot more damage instead of going tank.
Yeah, exactly. If you're very far ahead as Trundle, it's not a bad place to go with. It's just that you are a little bit squishier early on there, as we do see demonstrated here by Similidon. Trading back though very well, but you see like a nice like Q from Maokai is going to just do actual decent amount of damage versus going with an item. Oh, but we are seeing a nice
heal. Rablo go in. He does pop that ulti onto him. The eventual Maelstrom is going to be used as well. A great pillar to knock Bosged from being able to get into that parallel convergence. Keeping himself alive, having to burn that flash though and the ulti. But with a lot of pressure lost in that lane, and it just Bosged not able to land those stuns.
Yeah, fantastic pillar. Stopping the back there onto Jay Frazier. Going to delay him a little bit there. Wasted a little bit of his time. He does not have teleport, so he's going to have to walk back to that lane. So hopefully just try to keep him in there. But we might see the first turret actually go over to Fellowship of the Nerds there, as they have the two men in the top lane pushing that out further and further. But trading back and forth here in the bot lane. Little Tough Guy's going to pick that one up. Actually, Poop the Sheep sniped it away. But all local gold. No one's hurting at all.
Yeah, they spread the wealth.
Yeah, but trading 1-for-1 in the turrets so far is going to be good. I mean, as far as the 1-for-1 matchups go, Similidon, he's going to be a little more okay with that because he's going to be hoping to push that out further and further himself. But as far as the bot lane goes, I mean, we have seen a little bit of action there already, so not having that turret to kind of fall back on for Baby Chog and Chosgood might end up hurting them a little bit more than it's going to hurt Similidon. I mean, we've seen how he's kind of been playing this Trundle. I mean, he's had some great pillars to get out, some nice escapes as well as engages. So, I mean, he definitely has proficiency on this champion. He knows what it can and cannot do. Whether or not he's going to be able to, you know, use that to his advantage, we'll have to see yet. But, I mean, he is a very smart player. So I feel like it's okay to kind of lose that turret in the top lane, whereas in the bot lane, it's going to be a little bit of an advantage for TMI.
Well, and opening up those solo lanes is really going to allow the AD carry and mid, or AD carry and support to go mid, try and siege that turret, and then now they're going to throw their solo laners probably in those respective lanes to try and get top or the bot turret, or sorry, get more of the top turret, and that's where they will send Never Lucky. Going to try and siege that for himself. Caitlyn with, just like we said, that obnoxious zoning potential, and they can honestly just slow play and just continually just grab turrets, and that's what we've seen. Last series we saw a complete bloodbath in both games, and a lot of kills coming through. 6 kills only here in 19 minutes, just being very slow, methodical games coming out from both sides so far.
And we do see the 1-3-1 already coming out here. Zed in the top lane, and they're throwing Trundle into that bot lane. Waves nice and ready to go. He's pushing that very, very far already, but we do see the engage.
They are going to go into a little tough guy here as they try to get the double bomb to get the stun. It will go through the invulnerability coming through, but it's going to be a waste. This tough guy blowing both summoners to keep himself alive, but a very good try there, getting the stun as well as the twisted advance, but not able to land that kill.
Yeah, and Bosged doing his best to dissuade the push in the top lane there. Gonna hopefully just try and, you know, hold that for himself there, hold his own ground. As we do see Trundle, you know, he's got that Hydra finish. The Rift Herald is gonna be despawned now. We're gonna be seeing Baron being the one taken. So no team really wanting to force that one onto themselves. A nice stun coming out of Mo Money there in the mid lane, but Jay Frazier trying to make some plays.
Great charm there into the stun. They are gonna jump through. The Zillion ult is gonna go through. He is going to try and get up there. The stun not going to land on anyone. They will pick up that kill onto the little tough guy. He's going to go down now to Milidon, just pushing down that bot lane. But this is going to alleviate a little bit of pressure in that mid lane. They should be able to maybe counter siege towards that Zillion. That's Harablo going to go on Similidon here. Doesn't have any backup. They are just going to back off with the explosive charge going down. A great cocoon onto Jay Frazier, catching him underneath the turret. There's Baby Chog forced to jump out before he gets stuck.
Yeah. Little Tough Guy going down there in the mid lane did hurt them a little bit there, but I mean, they have enough clear with just Mo Money. And the Cocoon landing from Poop the Sheep was able to waste enough time there that they weren't able to kind of continually put damage onto that turret. So yes, it is warmed up a little bit there, but they kind of have it balanced back out here. Jay Frazier going to continually keep pushing that in, not seem to be roaming anymore, and they are going to focus on getting the second dragon for themselves, kind of get those stacking towards that 35-minute mark when the Elder Dragon is going to be spawning. And this is a very good one for the composition they have structured here. Zed thrives on this dragon. Same with Trundle. Definitely a big boost for them coming into this one, as we do see another Cloud Drake, it looks like, going to be the next one to spawn up here. And that's going to be even more movement speed if they pick up that third one.
And yeah, very interesting choice to have their jungler split push against their top laner with an objective up in the bot lane. Basically just rolling over and giving that dragon away for free. With these new dragons, it's kind of rough. I mean, that's definitely not one that they want to give away. Like you said, they can utilize that Fire Drake quite well, and I think Fellowship also would have been able to. But they're just going to try and siege this mid turret here as that charm does land onto Similodon, just to try and push him away a little bit. Mo Money going to show up, and now the zoning potential begins as Little Tough Guy shows up, throws down a decent amount of damage there, has that Runeance complete, working towards the Infinity Edge. Once he has that, the crit damage going to get increased by quite a bit.
Yeah, so exactly like you said, once they hit that power spike there with the Runaan's Infinity Edge, that is going to be a very, very scary Caitlyn, especially when they get into those fights for that third drag when that does spawn there. So something you're going to have to very much watch out for. And we do have another pause coming in here. Just some internet issues coming in here. Nothing too major. They usually get resolved in a couple seconds, but we are going to bring it back here to the casters because I know you guys do miss us very so much. But as far as the game is going, it seems like it's pretty even so far, but as far as like with the setup, it looks like TMI does have a very good setup to translate into something big.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. They're slow playing the game, and that's exactly what they want to do. They have a very great siege potential. That Mountain Drake you talked about would be perfect for them, but not going to RNG. What can you do? But they are grabbing the dragons that they can. I'm still a little confused why they just give that up for free. Not really sure why they're trying to match their jungler with the mid laner, but Zed's just going to continually split push, and they kind of need an answer to it, and I don't think Bosgood is really the right choice.
But I don't know who really is at this point. I mean, Jay Frazier is probably the best matchup for him, but it's still not very a good one. We saw that 1v1 in the mid lane there. It didn't go very much in Jay Frazier's way. If Parabola wouldn't have teleported into the lane there, would have probably spelled the end of him at that point. So not really something that Jay Frazier might feel comfortable playing into, and he might feel like he's better to sieging at that point. I mean, he has a little more people with the charm. He can kind of get some catches, maybe make some plays, and then translate it with Baby Trog. They're able to push down the turrets very, very fast. So having a Tristana on the team and continually pushing that wave in farther and farther, you're going to be able to push it a little bit faster than with that Jungle Echo. So that might be something they're working towards there. But again, with that decision, they are giving up so much on the bottom side of the map. There's not even the Rift Herald to take anymore, so they can't even rotate onto that if they get a little bit of a play, because now it's a little too early for Baron, especially with the way the game's going.
Team fighting is really, I think, what Fellowship of the Nerds is going to have to look for. Their composition's built more around it than trying to deal with that split push. So try and force those 4v5 fights. Like we've said, Zed does not have teleport. He can't just join the fight if he's off somewhere else. Yeah. If Jay Frazier does, you can match that up, TP into the fight. Then you have the numbers advantage. But they've built a composition around team fighting, and they're trying to match the split push. It's not going to work for them. They got to try and force some kind of fight, because they're just going to slowly start losing more and more in objectives, and the goal is just going to get increased more and more.
Sorry about John Cena there, guys, but yeah, like you were saying, like the composition that Fellowship of the Nerds, as we are back in the game here, doesn't really favor this matchup they have here.
He is going to go in. He is going to use the chrono break to pull himself out of there. Keep himself alive, get some distance. He is going to get chased down, though. Poof is in that top side. We'll have to see. We do have Jay Frazier coming up as well as they're trying to siege the mid. He will get away safely. Never Lucky not going to secure that kill in the top lane. They're going to keep shoving that mid lane, but keeping himself alive. Death Mark is not used efficiently. Now they can really just match anyone they want against that Zed. That takes away a lot of his 1v1 potential, kind of doubling that damage when that pops.
Yeah, the only thing with that is it is a very short cooldown, especially with the items that he's got it paired with there. He's got that Black Cleaver, he's got the CDR going for him. So, I mean, it's already almost halfway off cooldown there, so not very much downtime on that Death Mark coming into that top lane. So, I mean, sure, they might have a little bit of window opportunity, but they definitely have to take advantage of it while they can, because as soon as that's back up, Jay Frazier's going to have a tough time once again. And that's who they're sending back up here. Learning from their mistakes, they're sending Bosgood back towards the team there, but they're going to land a nice
He's going to get hit by the Cocoon here, and he's going to just use the heal. Not going to go for the ult. Mo Money picks that back up. Gets the Kobe from the back line. The repel will go through. Will land that 90 caliber net. Going to chase him down, but just going to get the crit and walk away. little bit of an overcommitment, I guess, but a great stun at the same time there by Poof, really locking him down, but doesn't use that ulti, but I don't think it would have saved him. A stun going on to Harablo now as Poof has shown up, grabs the stun onto Baby Trog, uses the heal and the flash. He's going to get taken down. The Deathmark going on to Jay Frazier, will use the Zhonya's, might be a little early though, and he goes back in the Ignite, not going to be enough to take him down, however, but that will definitely be in the favor of TMI, and they should be able to siege the mid turret off that.
Yeah, unfortunately, TSM never lucky. Popping that E a little bit early there as he went back to the Living Shadow. But they definitely have a pressure in just about everything that they need. They have it in the mid lane now after taking that fight. Jay Frazier forced back, but he does have TP, but I'm not sure if he's wanting to go in on that either. He doesn't have his ultimate up either, so he doesn't have a lot of escape tools after the fact. So he did go with the Morellonomicon there, as we were kind of talking about there. The Grievous Wounds being changed back. They're going to be very good against this Trundle, against the Caitlyn when she gets a little bit of lifesteal towards her. So having those negating any of the heals are going to be coming out very strong. Zhonya is definitely something you want to build into this Zed. So itemizing so far so good here, but just look at the CS discrepancy between the mid laners, 169 to 221. So pretty big advantage here coming out for TSM Never Lucky, as he did just finish up that Youmuu's Ghost Blade. So next time they come into the 1v1 scenario, I don't know if it's going to go their way. Baby Trog able to chunk out that turret enough with Tristana that he's going to be able to pick that one up for himself. So trading that back at least, making up for something.
Yeah, I mean, he is quite a bit down in that CS discrepancy, but he's been a part of all of his team's kills. And if you look at the other side, 0-1-0 hasn't really done anything, really been isolated by himself. So farming is the only thing he's really been doing, so he definitely should be up in that department. And I do like it. I mean, like we were saying, the Tristana Taric combo, very good, being able to jump in, but you can also set that up with Jay Frazier. If he uses that Spirit Rush, you get a stun off of that as well. I believe the channel time, if you land a charm, you can follow it up immediately with that stun. The channel time all goes off before the actual CC is done. You can layer it. It's just, they need to answer something to the split push. They need to find themselves a kill. They need to force some kind of fight and do it quickly, because the longer this game goes, it's just going to continue to be slow played here by TMI. They're just going to pick up more and more objectives and just keep getting that gold lead, as they are up 6,000 gold at this point.
You know, honestly, looking at the team composition from Fellowship of the Nerds, that the Tark really synergizes well with most of them here. I mean, you can phase dive in with the Echo there and land a nice stun. Same with Ravel. You can twist it advance, kind of chain it up there a little bit. But, I mean, yeah, this Tark pick, I really like it. It just doesn't seem to be panning out exactly as planned here. But, I mean, it's going to only get better into the late game there. I mean, those stuns can really turn the tide of a fight, especially that ultimate as well, making you invulnerable. I mean, paired with the Zhonya's and then going with the Taric ultimate is going to really hurt Zed going into that one, making your targets invulnerable there. You're wanting to pump out as much damage in a short span of time, so if you can kind of prep it, then you're going to be fine.
Like we were saying, being very objective focus as well as vision control. We see the Baron being prepped here. A lot of vision. They do grab the Scuttle Crab. They clear all of the other vision. So it's completely dark, and you're going to try and force something here if they can land a stun. And we do see them go in. A great Taric stun going through. Not going to be able to take him down as Jay Frazier kind of in there. Harablo looking to come in from the backside, but Jay Frazier very low. Deathmark is going to be using invulnerability going well as the Zhonya's. So maybe a little bit of lack of trust and communication there, using both invulnerabilities at the same time just to get rid of that Zed ulti. But with some low health bars, that great stun, and Never Lucky's going to take him down as Baby Trog's in a lot of trouble. Will knock him back there. Bosgood is going to try and go down to Never Lucky. Baby Trog going to try and go for the reset there. The Zillion ult going to save him, keeping him from going down here, and he is going to go back onto Bosgood, but no kills are going to come through there. A lot of team fighting, but that Zillion ult really denying everything and resetting these team fights.
Yeah, TSM Never Lucky definitely doing a great job of following up with Mo Money. You know, he cosplaying Steph Curry there, just dropping bombs on him. And, I mean, it really played well to their advantage to mill it on. Finding Harablo in the jungle there, just going to trade back some damage.
It looks like Chazga and Bosga trying to delay this Baron, taking a lot of damage here. Baby Trog coming up the mid lane, but we do see the parallel conversions landing on a Never Lucky, but he's going to go down as well as Chazga, and they're healing up here. And now it's really up to Baby Trog to kind of deter this, as Similidon's TPing in, going to probably take that for his team. Harablo does not have it available, so this should probably be a free Baron for the side of TMI, and that's just going to help them split push and just siege even more.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see Mo Money there. He's picked himself up the Morellonomicon, so he's kind of looking a little tough guy in the eye, say, look at me. I am the carry now. As we are seeing a Baron being taken up there, so with this 1-3-1, it's going to translate very, very well. They're going to be able to use that huge. It's gonna like Zed. No one's gonna be able to touch him at this point now. We're gonna see Trundle going to the side lane, just continually pushing into Harablo because that's really the only person that can answer him at this point. He does have the Spear Visage now. He's got that Glacial. He's working towards the Iceborne Gauntlet. So going with that, I mean, it's once he finishes that up, it's going to be very, very strong. His 1v1 is going to be huge, especially with the Ravenous Hydra being able to pop that active, as well as the passive there. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse for Harablo, even though Maokai does scale very, very well.
We see Harablo go in here, but might have bit off a little more than he gets you, getting that stun coming through. And like we said, he does pick up the Eye of the Watcher going into the Morel. Oh, gonna try and get that stun. He's been poked down so much. A great taunt going through, but he also gets stunned. And the double stun gonna go through. They will catch out Harablo as Jay Frazier taking a lot of damage. Ace in the hole going through. Not gonna be able to take him down as Baby Trog forced away as well. A great flash on that charm. The bomb not gonna be enough, and Jay Frazier slowly healing up, but the flash bite comes through. Forced to Milidon, and he will get that chomped on that booty. And now they will take down this turret in the mid lane. Should be pretty easy, and now this is really their potential of the siege. They don't have a tank for the initiation. The mid laner is down. It's really just going to be up to Baby Trog to try and get that, and all the meanwhile, Never Lucky is just pushing that top lane relentlessly.
Yeah, I mean, with Mo Money on this Zillion here, showing a very, very strong. The CDR working out so well from going with the Boots of Lucidity paired with the Morella Nomicon CDR. I mean, just dropping bombs consistently and landing those double stuns that they absolutely need to. Very, very clutch at this point. Going to pick up another drag for themselves here. So, I mean, their win conditions, they have them all. There's not too many options for Fellowship of the Nerds to really come back into this if TMI keeps up the way they are. If they kind of gave up the 1-3-1 going to team fights, then I don't know if it's going to spell as good for them, but if they just keep up the 1-3-1, keep up the pressure across the map, and keep making plays the way they are, I feel like it's going to be fine.
And Bosgo's going to try and catch Never Lucky. He's just going to shadow out. Not really much that can slow him down at this point. And yeah, that's just the problem, is they're getting these objectives like they wanted, slow playing the game. They've got the AP damage. I know that was a bit of a worry, but let's be real. Zillion building that AP, landing this stuns as well as getting that damage down. Pretty easy for Poof to follow up with that Abyssal as well. So they just had so much damage coming through, and they're just going to be able to keep sieging. And at this point, I don't even know if a 5v5 would go in the favor Fellowship of the Nerds, where they've built around this team comp.
No, I mean, we do see Mo Money. Looks like he's working towards that Luden's Echo, so definitely going with that solo Q AP build. Just going to build that Sightstone and then just go full AP after that point. But looks like they're going to rotate onto this boss side of the map, where Little Tough Guy prepping the wave very much in their favor here. Chaw's good, getting a chunk stunned up a little bit.
We do see Rablo going. They do land the parallel convergence. Is Never Lucky going to try and go, and he is going to use the Deathmarker to Baby Chog, who's been stunned. A great kill there, the invulnerability going out, but it's not going to be enough as Never Lucky goes back and takes down Rablo. And Smilodon gets that kill. Going to use the Chrono Break. He's not going to be able to get through that wall. A double kill going for Sumilodon, and what they thought would be a great catch definitely turned around, and that's TMI picking up some kills, and this is definitely very scary for Fellowship of the Nerds.
Yeah, I mean, that front line not doing too much when it's just getting absolutely shredded through by the amount of damage that is coming out of TMI here. So getting chunked out extremely hard very early on. Taric ult, it takes a little bit of time to channel, so I mean, you can't really, prep that too much, especially when you kind of bite off a little more than you can chew. So that's exactly what happened at that point. Harablo went for the full engage, and then they just kind of turned it around. There's a big advantage here, so they have all the item advantages. They have advantages in every single lane, so they can just take these fights even.
And it was just a lack of damage. Never Lucky was stunned. He couldn't get out of there, and they weren't able to pop him before he became CC free. Immediately goes back in, gets the kill, and they just turn it around for themselves. You got to be looking. I mean, even if they don't win this game, they have the 3-ban advantage. They could have taken anything really they wanted that was left on the table, and they're not making their picks work. And they really had the pick of the litter for power picks.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really deny too much overall. I mean, they still got a Caitlyn, which Little Tough Guy. I mean, he has a very flexible 80 carry champ pool. I mean, we've seen him play like Callista throughout the season, Lucian, stuff like that. So the Caitlyn's definitely still up his alley. So you can't really take anything away from him. Mo Money, this Zillion pick, not anything that we probably would have suspected. I mean, the Alistar ban very well suited, maybe a Shen, something like that, but ended up pulling this one out of nowhere. So
working out a lot last season.
Yeah, it still worked out very well because just from the trends of this season seem to be more towards those melees. And Similodon, the Trundle pick, I mean, it's not something necessarily you ban, but it is something that's very strong still.
Yeah, Never Lucky trying to go for the flank here. He will throw out that Living Shadow to try and get himself away, but That's going to take down the turret. A great stun onto Boz. Are they going to be able to follow up as the Cocoon goes? So the rest of the team going in. The Vengeful Maelstrom pod, they are invulnerable, so they're not going to be able to finish that kill. But Similodon just running in there. A Chrono Break going through, not dealing much. Another stun following through on Bosgood. He's going to be forced to flash out. Meanwhile, Harablo trying to do what he can, and that'll be another kill picked up for Little Tough Guy. Ace in the hole going on to Jay Frazier. Never Lucky going to use that ulti, taking down Baby Trog. And that's going to be 3 kills picked up for TMI. And this should be the bottom inhibitor as minions flood in from the top side.
Yeah, that was a huge fight. Now they're like, there's not a lot of options for Fellowship of the Nerd. They're just going to rotate in here. They're probably just going to take the Nexus turrets, to be honest. The death timers are still pretty high. I mean, we're still looking at over 20 seconds on any of these members here. So, I mean, you're playing your uphill battle right now. So they're going to take both the Nexus turrets simultaneously for style points.
This might be the game as they do go on to Jay Frazier. Going to try and get that kill. He is going to pop the Zanyas, but it will go down. And that will be game 1 going to TMI. And, I mean, you got to give these guys props. They come in. Literally just got here. They play the game. They have no bans going into this game, and they still pull it out with a very slow-paced game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Poof the Sheep, even though, yeah, he did come in as a substitute, not necessarily planned at all. So coming in, putting out a very aggressive performance, as well as putting a lot of pressure on the map, making some plays. I mean, we saw some nice cocoons coming out, catching up some priority targets, and then just being able to follow that up with the rest of the team that got very far ahead in their own right, too. They played the map very well. They played the lanes very well, and they just had an advantage throughout the entire game.
Yeah, gotta give them props. But guys, we're gonna take a short break before game 2 here. So stick around. We will be back with game 2 of TMI versus Fellowship of the Nerds.